The Dornier Do X was the largest, heaviest and most powerful flying boat in the world when it was produced in 1929. During its 70th flight to satisfy the skeptics, the aircraft designed for 66 passengers was loaded with 150 people, plus 10 crew members and 9 stowaways. This flight set a new world record for the number of people carried on a single flight, a record that would stand for 20 years. The flagship, flying ship, as it was called, was launched for its first test flight on 12 July 1929, with a crew of 14. The model was popular with the public, but a lack of commercial interest and a series of non-fatal accidents prevented the construction of more than 3 examples. The Do X was an all-duralumin monoplane with wings covered in heavy linen fabric. It was initially powered by 12 524 horsepower Bristol Jupiter radial engines mounted in a push-pull tandem configuration, with 6 pushing and 6 pulling propellers. The air-cooled engines had overheating problems and limited the Do X's altitude to only 425 meters. In 1930, after 103 flights, they were replaced with water-cooled, 610 horsepower V12 Curtiss V-1570 Conqueror engines. The aircraft recalled the nautical arrangements of the time, including the flight deck, which bore a strong resemblance to the deck of a ship. The engines were controlled by a flight engineer, who operated 12 throttles and monitored the corresponding gauges. The pilot communicated his requests to adjust the power, following a system similar to that of ships. The luxurious passenger accommodation approached the standards of ocean liners. On the main deck was a smoking room with its own bar area, a dining room and seats for the 66 passengers that could also be converted into bunks for night flights. Aft of the passenger spaces were a galley, toilets and hold. On the upper deck were the cockpit, navigation office, engine control and radio rooms. The lower deck contained the fuel tanks. In total, 3 Do XS were built. The original operated by Dornier, the other 2 were ordered from Italy. The Italian variants were slightly larger and were powered by water-cooled Fiat A22RV12 engines. In an attempt to enter the US market, a transatlantic promotional flight was made from Friedrichshafen, Germany, on 3 November 1930, led by Friedrich Christiansen. During the journey through Europe and Africa, the aircraft faced various problems, including accidents and delays, and reached New York on 27 August 1931, after almost 10 months. Here, the plane and crew stayed for 9 months to overhaul the engines, but the Great Depression caused the marketing plans to fail. He returned to Germany in May 1932, welcomed by a large crowd in Berlin. Afterwards, the original Do X was transferred to Lufthansa, which planned a passenger route to Vienna, Budapest and Istanbul in 1933. The flight was interrupted after 9 days due to the tail section tearing off during a failed landing. Although the accident was kept secret, it marked the end of the original Do X. The Italian examples, Do X2 and 3, were incorporated into the Regia Aeronautica fleet, and used for demonstration and propaganda flights from 1931 to 1935, after a failed attempt to convert them into hydro bombers. They ended their operational life in the La Spezia shipyards, where they were shelved and later scrapped. The Do X-1 initially displayed in a museum ended up being destroyed during the Second World War in an air raid by the Royal Air Force on the night of the 23rd to the 24th of November 1943. The Dornier Do X, also called the flying ship, although never a commercial success, was the largest and heaviest aeroplane of its time and demonstrated the potential of an international passenger air service.